Hey guys, welcome back. Let's begin. Konoha 2 months after banishment. Things in the village were constantly shifting. And the situation could be called hectic, to say the least. As stated before, the old ally and trade partners had turned their backs and stopped all trade with them. Now the real issue came when the daimyo found out and put the whole village on notice. After that, many clients were calling the honor of the village out and wondering if they could be depended on. This lowered the status of the leaf and caused the other nations to monitor them, waiting for a slip-up. Through the whole thing, Tsunade was struggling with all the paperwork along with stress. She managed to convince half of their clients that they should still support them. The village's name was still in the dirt. And it was an uphill battle. I swear this paperwork is the devil. Tsunade whined as she was currently looking at 3 towering stacks of paper on her desk. I have more, Lady Tsunade. Tsunade saw her come into the room with more papers. She needed a drink. Greetings, Haim. A voice called out from the window near the edge of the room. Sigh, what do you want, Jiraiya? The sage looked hurt. Oh. Can't I see my Haim without there being something wrong? He said in mock anger. We both know you don't show up for mere social visits, Tsunade informed him as he sighed as well. The truth is that both of them had little time on their hands for fun anymore. I just came by giving you the new bingo book and inform you I haven't found the brat yet. At this, she looked baffled. What do you mean you haven't been able to find him? The sage sighed at her outburst. He knew she would get worked up. I can't seem to find him. I get sightings here and there, but nothing concrete. I see. The light in the room seems to fade at the sadness they were feeling. Deciding to see the update bingo book, she flipped to the page Jiraiya had marked for her. Most were the usual riffraff until she came onto 2 entries. Name, Kitsune. Rank, A+. Age, estimated around 15 or 16. Village, unknown. Location, unknown. Chakra nature, lightning and wind. List of justice. Wind bullet. Lightning kunao technique. Electron technique. Known affiliates, Kami. Note of feats. Defeated many bandits whose leader was a high B+ Nukanin. Cleared out gangsters from mine and freed prisoners. Protected a merchant from 3 assassins with 2 at a mid-A rank and 1 high A rank. Description, has a fox mask and stands about 5 feet 6 inches, 166 cms, has blonde hair. Clothes are an orange jumpsuit with blue sandals. If encountered without backup, flee. If the target is by himself, proceed with caution. Name, Kame. Rank, A. Age, estimated 15 or 16. Village, unknown. Location, unknown. Chakra nature, water. Water pellet. Hidden mist jutsu. Water shurikens. Known affiliates, Kitsune. Note of feats. Saved a merchant from 3 ninja assassins, 2 who equal mid-A rank and 1 high A rank. Description, wear a turtle mask, is about 5 feet 6 inches 166 centimeters, has brown hair and wears a blue jacket with navy pants. If encountered, capture target quickly, but if with Kitsune, flee to a safe distance. They're kinda young to be in the bingo book, but I guess that just shows how messed up this world is. Thank you, Jiraiya, and now I have to get back to, this paperwork. He nodded and left out the way he came. Lady Tsunade, is something wrong? Shizun asked in concern, seeing her teacher contemplating something. Oh, sorry, I was just thinking about Naruto. At this, Shizun nodded with a frown on her face as she too missed him. I will leave you to finish this, Lady Tsunade. Now all alone, she turned back to work, but not without offering a small pray for his safety. Wherever you are safe. Hi, a man screamed as he swung his sword in a downward slash, only to be stopped by a kick to his stomach. Damn it, Naruto. Why did you have to piss them off? The raven yelled while dodging the strikes coming from the crowd surrounding them. But this was the best way to capture them all at once. He shouted back with a big grin on his face. I agree with Amine on this. But what's done is done. Replying calmly in attempts to calm his teammate. It went on for a few more minutes before the attackers were unconscious and tied up. Phew. That was a good workout. The blonde smirked to the annoyance of the raven. Now that we're done here, let's get back to the client. They both nodded and transported their prisoners. After returning to the client and handing them the knocked out prisoners before heading to their campsite. Dinner went as usual with the blonde laughing and making lame jokes to the ire of the raven and a chuckle from the chestnut-hair boy. Things have gone well after meeting Amina though at first. It was a bit tense since she was still wary of entrusting them. Naruto, being the man he is, was able to convince her with his actions and made her feel more at ease and open up to them. They learned that she grew up in a small farming village until bandits attacked and she was orphaned at a young age. Living by herself, she stole what she required and kept to herself. Until she was found by Shoji and he trained her in ninjutsu and gave her something close to home. At the mention of home, Chose had a faraway look in his eyes, something not missed by the blonde. Though he noted it for discussion later as he wanted to aid him if he could, but for now they needed to rest. Next morning, waking with a loud yawn, the blonde left the tent to perform his daily routine. Afterward, he noticed Amina was still in the process of waking and Chose was leaning on a tree. Morning, he said to a yawn from the raven and a hum from the brown-haired boy. So Chose, how about a quick spar before breakfast? He nodded and both of them set out for the clearing nearby. So let's just use taijutsu, he said to get another nod. Both boys took their stances on different sides of the clearing before launching at each other. Naruto aimed a punch at his face to be blocked and an elbow sent to his ribs. Shrugging off the blow, he quickly countered with a feint, then did a leg sweep, knocking him off his feet. He tried to stomp his stomach, but the boy rolled to the side and got to his feet. Once again they engaged in a series of kicks, punches, and dodges, with both gaining no ground. Chose delivered a punch to the blonde's stomach but seemed to hesitate. This was not unnoticed by said blonde as he countered before kicking him in the ribs, launching him back some. That was a good workout. But we should end it here. Naruto beamed excitedly about the spar. Chose, the boy who had been silent as if in a daze, quickly snapped his attention to the blonde. If you need to talk, I'm willing to listen. The boy was opened his mouth to deny but couldn't. It's nothing but old memories of my home, he said, looking down, and the blonde mouthed an ahh in understanding. Walking over to him, he placed a hand on his shoulder. While our situations may not be the same, I know how unpleasant memories can be. The boy just looked shocked as his teammate as he saw the pain before replying with thanks. Dusting themselves off, they went back to the campsite to see Amina had finished preparing breakfast. The three ate in silence, with Naruto giving Chose some time to ponder things, and as for Amina, she was still tired. I feel yat. So have we decided where we're going? The raven said, shattering the silence. We should head to the neighboring station for some easy spending money, the blonde said with a nod in agreement from his teammates. If I remember correctly, the following station is a few hours from here, so we should get moving, Chose informed the duo before packing up their items and setting off down the road. 4 hours later at the station. Phew, we're finally here, the blonde complained. Finally, I couldn't stand another minute of your winning. Amina sighed in relief, with Chose lost in thought. Looking at the building. It was an old rundown inn. Wasting no time, they made their way inside and went to the counter and ringing a bell. Ah yes, how may I assist you? An older man in his 30s appeared from the back. We're here for a request, Amina said, wasting no time. On ins, just 1 minute please. He walked into the back for a few minutes before returning with some papers. Here you are. Take your pick, he said with a smile while handing the trio the papers. Taking their time examining the papers, the requests ranged from protection, bandit hunting, scouting, and babysitting. This confused the blonde as he was reminded of D-rank hell, but more specifically one mission involving a cat. Deciding for the easy pay, they went for the babysitting request as it paid well enough. After accepting the mission, they went to the neighboring town over to where the client was residing. So it should be one of the houses in the middle of town, the raven informed the duo. It didn't take them long to find the address and were a little shocked as they didn't find a small house but a medium-sized mansion. They continued to stare in awe for a few more minutes before snapping out of it and knocking on the door. You think they have a big enough house? Chuckled the blonde, to whom this got him a death stare from Amina. Before long, a man in his 30s opened the door and greeted the trio. Ah, hello. I take it you're here for the request. The trio nod and he escorts them into the house. While following him down the halls, they glanced at the fancy setup. He leads them to a grand living room and got them some refreshments as they sat on one of the couches. Alright, now you're wondering the details. I'm Shojin, and I deal in real estate. I will be having a big meeting involving a large transaction. So I need you three to keep my daughter company and safe while I'm away. The meeting should last no longer than 4 days. The trio talked it over and agreed to watch the girl for him. Now as for my daughter. Sweetie, could you come down here? He yelled, surprising the trio as he didn't seem to type to yell like that. Soon a girl around 5 or 6 came down. Yes. Daddy? She asked, tilting her head. I will be going on my trip as we discussed, and I got these pleasant people here to look after you. He informed her while pointing their way. When she noticed the trio and their masks, her eyes lit up and had stars in them. Are you ninjas? That's so cool. Can you do tricks? How about throwing some kunao at the wall over there? She rambled on, getting a sweat drop from her dad and the trio. I'm sorry, you see, my daughter has a fascination with ninjas. Now dear, introduce yourself. He said, scolding her a little for the rant. Humph. My name is Masaki, pleasure to meet you. She said, bowing with a pout. Now that we're all introduced, I will finish packing. Shojin said before leading them to one of the spare rooms. The trio took the time to roam the halls and passed a few maids here and before arriving in the main living room again. A while later the trio waved Shojin off as he left for his meeting. So Masaki-chan, what do you want to do? Asked the raven in a gentle voice. I'm hungry, can I have something to eat? Amina just giggled a little before nodding and set off to fix something. I'm gonna go look around, see ya later. Naruto informed before dashing off before Chose could say anything. So, Masaki-chan, what do you want to do while we wait? The brown-haired boy sighed. How about tag you're it? Hee. Just like that. She was gone down the hallway with Chose following behind. For the next half hour, he chased her around before catching up to her in the garden. The garden was filled with numbers of flowers and was a truly beautiful sight. Hey! Chose Ne-chan, come catch me. His eyes widen when images begin to flicker in front of his eyes. Ne-chan, come catch me. Hee. Masaka noticed him frozen and walked up to him, shaking him a bit. Ne-san, you alright? He quickly snapped out of it before smiling at her and telling her everything was fine. Hey! Dinner's done, so go wash and get in here, yelled Amina. Dinner was ordinary for the most part, with Naruto making jokes and Amina battering him over the head for his antics. Chose, however, was silent throughout the whole thing and quickly left once he finished. Later, it was night and Chose was sitting in the garden looking at the stars with faraway eyes. Everything was silent until a voice spoke from behind him. Chose-san. This got him to turn and look at the girl, confused about why she was here. Did I do something wrong? He rose his eyebrows to that. Why do you believe that? She hesitated before speaking. Well, when you froze up in earlier, I thought I did something. And you didn't say anything at dinner and looked troubled by something. His eyes widened. She hit the mark. Masaki. I assure you did nothing wrong, it's just my past. He frowned and sadness could be seen. If you want, I can listen. He thought about it for a while before sighing as he saw no point in not talking. In the past, I had a sister. She was like you, lively and energetic. It's just you remind me of her so much. She nodded and understood a little. I failed to protect her. And I'm unsure if I can help anyone. Especially my friends. I don't want to be a burden for them. Suddenly he was hugged from the side and saw it was Masaki. You shouldn't think that way. I'm certain you did your best. Naruto-san and Amina-chan both trust you, so why not trust them with this? He was wide-eyed with this. I don't think it's that easy. She shook her head before continuing. Because you are making it such. I know how you fell in a way. Once I and Ka-chan were out walking and a horse pulling a carriage got spooked and ran off. I was in the way and Ka-chan told me to move, but I was frozen and couldn't move, and so the last second she pushed me out of the way. I blamed myself from then and felt the same, that I was a burden, until Tio-san informed me that I should wash away those doubts and remember the good times and walk forward for her and make her happy. He listened silently till the end, and she was right. He shouldn't be beaten himself up, turning to her and smiling. Thank you. Masaki hugging her before standing and helping her get to her room as it was her bedtime. The days flew by as Masaki and Chose were close as real siblings. He played with her and told her stories of his journey. Finally, Shojin returned and saw how close they were. He laughed at the situation of Chose was forced into having a tea party with some stuffed animals. I have to thank you three for looking after little Masaki here for me. He smiled while shaking their hands. It was no problem, Shojin-san. The raven bowed. Masaki ran at Chose and hugged him. Chose and I-san, can you come back again? She asked while bouncing up and down, causing him to chuckle. Of course, so long as it's fine with your Ryo-san. He told her, looking up at the man. And he nodded. I will come back then. She hugged him once last time before the trio set off for their next destination. So Choseyu and Masaki were close. He merely smiled at his teammates while nodding, telling them she was like a sister to him now. Later, when we set up camp, I have something to tell you both, he informed then, and they nodded. As they walked off, Chose looked back one more time, silently thanking her for his renewed confidence. Chapter 11. Once the trio found a nearby clearing to set camp, Chose was ready to inform his teammates of something. Naruto, Amane. Both stopped what they were doing and went over the brunette. I've been pondering something for a while and have reached a decision. I will be heading to Kiri to fight in the war. The duo was silent, computing what he declared. This something I need to do and can no longer run from. It was a pleasure to meet both of you and thanks for everything. He bowed before the duo and turned around, but before he took more than a step he was abandoned by a hand on his shoulder. Turning around with a raised eyebrow, he was surprised by what was said next. We're coming with you. What friends would we be if you went alone? Therefore, you can count on both of us. The blonde smirked and the raven nodded. This brought a smile to the brunette, as he had loyal friends. Thank you. He bowed again, but Naruto waved him off. They carried on with their night and preparing for the journey ahead. Next morning, the trio set out at dawn, taking half the day to reach the border while also stopping to take a break. We're here, so we need to be careful, Chose informed the duo, with them nodding in agreement. Wasting no time, they passed the borders, cautiously scanning their surroundings, hoping to avoid any fights. Sadly, fate had other plans for them. While jumping tree to tree, Amane heard a whoosh sound. Incoming, she yelled as the trio ducked and dodged a hail of konao and shurikens. From the shadows, a squad of Kiri-umbu appeared. Halt, you're trespassing, you'll have to come with us. The trio didn't respond and instantly got into a fighting stance. The Kiri-umbu rushed fiercely, the trio throwing more konao. Instantly forming hand seals, one of the umbu shouted. Sutin, Mizu Peruto, water pellet. Chose saw the water bullet heading towards one of his friends and countered with his jutsu. Fire style, House Anka no Jutsu, mythical fire flower. The two jutsus meet head on and exploded, creating a lot of smoke. With this smoke, one of the umbu crept up behind the brunette and chopped his neck, knocking him out. Chose! The duo yelled at the sight. This got them riled up. Tamaishi Danmaku, Pebble Barrage. The raven shouted, shooting the barrage at the far left one and knocking him into some trees. Kage Bushin no Jutsu. 3 Narutos appeared and leaped at the other two. The umbu wasted no time with casting their next jutsu. Water style, Mizu Shuriken no Jutsu, water shurikens. They caught the clones off guard and dispelled them before running through more hand signs. You did well, but now let's end it. Water style, hidden mist jutsu. An impenetrable fog rolled in, enveloping everything and blocking the view. Naruto heard his teammate shriek in pain. Amane. He didn't move, merely waited for the following strike. From behind him and to his side the umbu launched at him. He was able to knock back the one behind, but the other at his side caught him off guard. With a swift punch to the gut, winding him and a neck chop, the blonde was out of the fight. I'm sorry guys, I couldn't do anything. Those were his last thoughts before drifting off. The next few hours were a blur of images and sounds as they were dragged to an unknown location. Ugh, holding his head in an attempt to quell his headache, he quickly scanned the room. He was in a single cell with Chose and Amane in the cells across from him. They were still unconscious, the other cells were full of random people. From the looks ranging from shinobi to civilians. Hey! Guys, wake up! He whispers shouted to his teammates. He heard a groan from the cells signaling them waking up. Where? Was all Amane could get out before the door slammed open. Wake up! A tall, clean-shaven man shouted. You, where are we? A man further down yelled. Your new home. All of you criminals of Kiri in one form or another and are now in our care. He motioned the guards to unlock the cells and stood to the side. Now time for a little walk before mealtime. He ushered the group out of the room and to a courtyard where they were ordered to walk in a circle. Remember, you won't be leaving here, so think happy thoughts, as you will likely never experience the joys of life. No steak, no alcohol, and no love life outside of a boot to the face. The guards chuckled a little with the warden. Also, one last tidbit for any of you ninja: a seal has been placed to disrupt chakras, so no funny ideas. Naruto looked towards his left arm and could see the mark. After that, he took them to the cafeteria where others were in the process of eating. When he got to the head of the line, he was handed a tray with some slop on it. The trio secured a table in the back corner. Ugh, what is this crap? It tastes horrible. The Raven shouted and Chuzay nodded. So what do we do? The blonde asked, looking at Chuzay. Still in the process, the walls are high and there are many guards. Not to mention the chakra seal we have doesn't help. They quieted down when a guard passed, acting as they were eating. We need to gather more information, maybe one of the other prisoners knows something. The blonde and the Raven nodded in agreement. It would be difficult but manageable. So let's split up then and talk tomorrow, Amine replied, and they set off. Amine approached a group of kunoichi and got close with them and talked. Chuzay approached a small group playing cards and got settled there. As for Naruto, he got cozy with one of the gangs there since he already looked like a punk. The day flashed by as they were once again in their cells and resting for the night, save the blonde. He just couldn't get over how he wasn't good enough to protect the other from Umbu and get away. Suddenly everything before him flashed and changed into a sewer. Idiot! A voice yelled. Kurama! What do you want? The fox scoffed before replying. I was saying you were an idiot. You couldn't predict how strong the Kirinin were. Yeah, he was cut off by a yell from the fox. Idiot! I didn't know my container was so weak. He blamed himself for every trivial thing. The fox huffed again. And Naruto was quiet, thinking on the fox's words. Kurama! The fox raised an eyebrow as his change in demeanor. What kid? The blonde was silent for a minute before looking at Kurama with fire in his eyes. I want to continue our training to get stronger. The fox smirked at this. He got the blonde fire up. As you wish, but no, I will not go easy. He merely smiled back at the fox. I wouldn't expect any less. The fox laughed once again. Good, good. Now we will train at night for now. Get ready, kid, I've been looking for a way to let off some steam. They both rushed at each other and continued until near morning, where the fox let him go to get some rest. The next morning followed the same routine with mocking remarks from the guards and exercise. Once again the trio met up at the back table to relay the information they collected. Amine was informed by the kunoichi the prison has been operating for 3 years and the guards are lazy. From the card game, Chuzay learned the guards joined in with the prisoners from time to time, as well as a service to get things from the outside brought in. If you pay enough. The blonde learned from the gang there have been several escape attempts but never got over the walls, as it was a good drop. As for the seal, an old man was mentioned to know seals in the past. So from the information, getting out will be hard. So the plan, for now, is Amine, you will get the schedule of the guards and map of the layout if possible. I will see if I can swipe the keys off a guard. As for you, Naruto, you should find this old man to see if he can help. The trio nodded and talked a bit more before heading back to their cells. Next morning. It took a while. But he found the old man on the other side of the prison. Walking over, he noticed it was a larger cell that could fit 10 people and filled with furniture and shelves with books and stuff. The man was meditating in the middle. Looking at him, he was around 5 feet 4 inches with bushy hair gone grey with a trimmed bearded. Yes. Young man, is there something you require? He called out, not opening his eyes. How'd you know I was there? He chuckled. I may be old, but my shinobi skills haven't wavered. The blonde was shocked. You were a ninja. He laughed once more. Is it so hard to believe I was like you, brash? Loud and full of energy, haha. Naruto frowned at the remark but let it go. So how long have you been here? The man opened his eyes. And one could see bright green eyes. I've been here for a year but have been transferred around from other prisons. So in total at least 8 years. This confused the blonde. Why? You do something bad? The man sighed and shook his head. No. But they're afraid of what I could do. Once again he was confused, and seeing this the man explained. I came from a village not far from Kiri. We were a proud people with extraordinary skills. As such were respected but also feared by those around us, and eventually it boiled over into a war. They slaughtered my people and the survivors scattered across the continent. Through all this Naruto could see the melancholy in the man's eyes as he talked about his home. It truly was beautiful, such a shame. He shook his head. And the blonde hands were balled into fists. How could people do this? He looked at the blonde eyes softening. It's how the world is full of hate, fear, and pain. The blonde shook his head. Can't someone change it for the better? Fire in his eyes. Sigh, possibly, but the proper person hasn't come along. There is just too much hate in this world of ours. A smile spread out on the man's face at the display from the blonde. Haha. Maybe you could be the one, but no, this path will be hard. You will be tested time and again and do things you wouldn't normally do. He was silent for a while. But how? The man put a hand on his shoulder. You will need friends to help lessen your burden. Remember, a single man can be strong. But a man with comrades to protect is stronger. Thank you, Gramps. The man chuckled before speaking once more. The name's Mako. Not old man. Naruto. The blonde put his hand forward and they shook. Well, it's been fun talking to you, lad. Why are you here? His eyes narrowed. I heard you knew something about the chakra seals. He studied the blonde for a second before replying. I know about. The question is why? Naruto froze. Could he trust the old man? He seemed like a kind person, so he took a chance. I'm planning to escape from here. His eyes narrowed even further. You know this is foolish. The blonde merely smirked. Well. You said tests would come my way. His eyes widened a bit, then laughed. You're a good one, lad. I will help you. But it will be a hard and long process, you sure? He merely nodded in return. Fine. Come by tomorrow and we will start. He thanked Mako before heading off to tell the others. Chapter 12. Hello everyone, and here is the next update. I hope you all enjoy it and continue to leave comments to show your thoughts. Do you think we can rely on this geezer of yours, Naruto? Said the raven with a raised eyebrow. Yes. He is a bit weird. But he is trustworthy. At least I think he is. He rubbed the back of his head with a sheepish expression. The duo sighed but accepted the blonde's judgment. Since your part is done, we will finish up on our end. Amina nodded. She informed the duo of some of the shifts but still required more time. Chose said he was able to get into a game later with one of the guards. All right. We'll meet up later. Chose said before walking off, followed by the raven and blonde. Later. Ah. So you made it, Brad. The blonde was ticked at the remark but didn't respond to the jab as he needed to be focused. All right, old man, what do you want? He laughed at how he avoided the jab and the remark. I will be creating a counter seal for the marks. Why I require you is my hands are no longer still as they formerly were. Therefore, you're my spare set of hands. The blonde made an ah sound. The issue is I don't know seals that well. Naruto informed the geezer. I expected well. For now, I will instruct you in the basics and have you practice. He told the blonde before walking to the other side of the room and pulling out some paper and ink. Gesturing to a pillow next to him to begin the lesson. So how do we start? The blonde asked curiously after sitting down next to the man. Good question. We'll have you do calligraphy. This confused Naruto. How does doing calligraphy help with seals? This remark ending with a chop to the head. He said while clutching his head and glaring at the man. Making seals is a complicated art that requires precision and a steady hand. Thus, calligraphy is the best way to practice without blowing us up. This had the blonde deadpan at him. Don't worry about that right now, just get to practice. With a sigh and began writing down words under the gaze of Mako. Week later. To say politely, the practice was undoubtedly hell would be a considerable understatement. Every time he messed up even in the slightest way, he received a comedic chop to the head and redemanded. To be honest, the man was a crazy perfectionist. Naruto found calligraphy to be easy and fun after a few smacks here and there. Taking breaks every so often, the old man would eagerly tell him some incredible stories of his adventures and remarkable things he'd seen, and Naruto would do the same. He learned more about the geezer's home and was a place called a zoo, as well as some sights there and the wildlife. Mako was surprisingly a florist who also enjoyed animal watching. It subtly reminded him of Ino and Shikamaru. He quickly became close to the geezer as if he were family. Dun dun dun, also telling him some of the elaborate pranks he typically did in his old village to the Umbu and the monument. You're improved tremendously, Mako said as he carefully examined the paper. Now comes the easy part. Drawing the seal matrix. The hard part is finding a way out. I do hope you've thought up a good plan to get out, he inquired. The blonde replied promptly with a nod. We'll pick this up tomorrow then. Brat. Geezer. They said with a quick chuckle. Finding both Chose and Amina sitting outside by a tree, he quickly went over to them to inform them of his progress. I finished the geezer's training and it should be finished tomorrow, he said with a sigh of relief. Chose and I are ready, she informed the blonde. So when do leave? He inquired eagerly. At night around midnight while everyone is asleep and the guards are idle. The blonde and the raven nodded and set off to their cells for the day. So today's the day, brat, Mako said with a sad smile. Yeah. We're finally getting out of here. Why don't you come with us? Mako was quiet for a minute. Sigh. I'm old. My days of adventure and action are done. You, on the other hand, still have much to do, he said while placing a hand on his shoulder. Over here is the blueprint of the counter seal. With the lesson. This shouldn't take long. Getting to work, it took less than an hour for Naruto to make 3 seals for him and his team. He spent the rest of the time with the geezer while he had the chance. It's been fun, Gramps, but I got to go. The old man shook his hand. Before you go, have this. Quickly making his way to a shelf, he pulled out an old book, handing it to the blonde, who gained a puzzled look. This is my seal book. All of the seals I've researched or found and a map of my old home. The blonde eyes were wide. I can't take this. Trying to hand it back only for the Mako to shake his head. No. It's yours now. I will do much better in your hands than some old coot. He chuckled a little. Besides, I've recognized you as my disciple, can't have you sully my legacy. The blonde sighed and accepted the book and smiled at the man. I promise to uphold your legacy and make it one of legend, he said while giving him a thumb up. See that you do, he. The time has come. Go, I will pray for your success. With one last handshake, the blonde set off. Finding his team by the tree, he informed them the plan was a go. The trio acted normally as not to raise suspicion before heading to the cells for the night. Nighttime. Midnight rolled around and by that time the other prisoners were asleep and the guards likely bored. Chose quickly unlocked his cell and then the others before the trio went into the courtyard. The only guards were on the wall looking out, not in. The trio crept up to one of the towers. Yawn, I wish something exciting would happen, you know. Hey. I'm fine with boring, this is an easy job. 2 guards said while sitting at a table playing poker. Making hand signs, Chose informed 2 alone. Creeping, they knocked out the 2 in the room and jumped over the wall. They said nothing as they rushed into the forest away from the prison. After 5 minutes of running, they slowed to catch their breath. We did it! The blonde exclaimed. Naruto, shut up, they can still hear us. The raven whisper shouted at the blonde. Agreed, till we're farther away we sh dash dot. Chose was caught off by a rain of kunao. Well, look what we have here. A man in uniform smiled at the trio in front of them. You didn't think you'd get away? Behind 5 other guards appeared. How? Chose asked. Well, one of my guards noted his key missing. Not to mention your visits to the geezer, he informed while pointing to the blonde. What? You think we wouldn't keep eyes on him? Since he could leave at any moment or cause a riot? Keeping his smile while the 5 circled the trio. You did well, but not enough. Don't worry though, you'll come to like solitary after a few years. Haha. The trio was on guard, ready to fight their way out. Please. I'm a high rank ex-jounin and these guys are mid ranks. he said while gesturing to the others. If you come quietly you won't be hurt, but by all means struggle. As they neared closer, the trio was about to form hand signs before an explosion went off, flinging 2 of the 5 into trees. What the hell? The warden screamed, scanning the treetops for the assailant. Quickly dodging more explosives, he and the others jumped to the other side of the clearing. I'm sorry, I can't let you hurt. My student. A voice said off to the right, and stepping into the moonlight everyone saw it was Mako. What are you doing here? Mako smiled at the pissed warden. As you know, I can leave anytime. I wish. If you must know, the blonde over here is my chosen student, so I can't allow you to stop him. The warden growled and the others got ready. Naruto, quickly, I will hold them off while you escape, he said, keeping his eyes on the guards. But old man, the blonde shouted. No buts, I can't let you fail here. You have a task to do. Don't you? Besides, you're carrying my legacy, who else do I have to do it? He. Not wasting time, Chosei thanked the man and dragged Naruto off with him and Amane. You think you can stop us? The warden sneered at Mako. I might not, but I know I can hold you here. With that, they rushed to each other. As the trio ran, they heard a loud explosion back the way they came. Naruto was silently praying for the old man's safety, with the other 2 doing the same. They kept going till near exhaustion and a bit more to keep ahead. I need rest. The blonde slumped against a tree, with the others following suit. You think that the geezer will be okay? Amane asked. And Naruto was looking down with a fist. I don't know, we can only pray for him, Chosei said softly. The decision to set camp there and took turns on watch till the morning. Back in the clearing, the area that had once been a clearing was now a crater, with the nearby trees on fire. Looking around, the warden and guards seemed to be dead or incapacitated. The old man laid on his back, looking at the stars. So this is where it ends, huh? I've lived a long life filled with adventure and excitement. If I regret one thing, is seeing my home and family one more time. Though at least the legacy of the Uzumaki will continue strong from here. Naruto, I wish you luck on your journey and will be looking out for you. So don't fail, or else I will haunt you till the end of your days. Haha. He spurted out blood. Sigh. I'm so tired. Let me just close my eyes and rest for a bit. I've earned it. As the words left his lips, his eyes lost their light and his soul passing on. It soon starts to rain as the heavens wept. Back in the camp with the trio, Naruto was asleep, but he was tossing and turning. He was having a dream. In the dream, he saw Mako smiling at him and waving. Naruto tried to run toward him, but he was being held back by something as the old man was engulfed into the darkness. Overhearing one more thing before he lost sight of the man. Keep strong, fellow Uzumaki. Shooting up with tears in his eyes, he didn't comprehend why, but he felt sadness. Old man, he said, looking out to the sky. He pumped his fist to his chest as a silent oath to carry on. After escaping prison, the trio kept on the move before taking refuge in a nearby village. None of the villagers questioned the arrival of the trio, as many travelers and refugees were normal since the war. The trio decided to get jobs in the village to help blend in and have some spending money. Naruto helped out with the heavy lifting and other hard tasks. Chosei got a job at a tavern as a cook, to which everyone who eats there enjoyed it. Amane was working at the same tavern as a server to pick up on gossip and drunk talk from passers-by. Weeks passed and no one came to search for the trio, so they figured they gave up. Without the threat of being hunted down gone, they could formulate a new plan. The first plan we had didn't do well, Chosei said to the blonde and raven. Ha! You can say that again, Amane said in a huff. So what now? Inquired the blonde. I believe we should continue to use this village as a base while keeping our jobs, while also conducting hit and run attacks on supply lines and other targets of interest. They both nodded. I have some nin who come in the bar ever so often, and I heard of a shipment was passing by to one of the forts, Amane informed the brown-haired boy. Did he say how many were guarding it by chance? Asking hopefully. He was drunk, but he talked about 5 Chuinins. So they are likely the only ones we should worry about unless they brought reinforcements. Chosei nodded. Makes sense, they are saving the Jounin for the front lines to deal with rebels. What do you think about this, Naruto? Both his teammates turning to him. I agree with both of you. We attack fast and hard, but when we get rid of the guards we should keep the shipment. His teammates raised a brow to this. Why keep it instead of destroying it? Amine asked curiously. We should save it for when we meet rebels or anyone who needs it. They both made an ah sound and nodded their head. It made sense, and they did have enough space here to hide it. Good idea, Naruto. The blonde just smirked with a small chuckle and scratched the back of his head. When does the convoy pass by, Amine? They will be here 5 days from now, she replied quickly. All right. We will continue with our life here and move out in 5 days. They all nodded and quickly settled in for the night. 5 days later. The trio was waiting in the trees by the main road with their masks on as to hide their identities. They sat in silence for hours until they saw the convoy appearing on the horizon and sending hand signs to his team to ready themselves. They waited till the convoy were just under the trees they were sitting in before striking. Toraping no jutsu, trapping skill. Amine shouted, creating a 15-foot hole around the convoy. The nin stumbled about confused before one spoke. Ambush. One of the Chunin shouted, the others getting into combat stances. Naruto jumped into the air with 2 clones. Kaze no Dangan, wind bullet. Hitting 3 of the 5 and knocking them out. Damn it! The last 2 shouted while running towards the blonde, only to be stopped by Chuzei. Water style, Mizu shuriken no jutsu, water shurikens. Hitting them from behind and catching them off guard. That was easy enough. The blonde said with hands behind his head. Tie them up and then we can carry these out of here. After tying the guards, the trio with help from the shadow clones carried the crates out of the hole and towards the village. Arriving as the sun began to set, they stealthily carried the crates into their house. They took the crates to a secret basement they dug out with Amine's earth jutsu for emergencies. Looking in the crates, they found various things from food pills to medicine. This was a good haul, but we need to be careful from now. No doubt they'll keep an eye out now. They nodded before sealing off the hideout and returned to their disguises. Elsewhere. So a loyalist shipment was intercepted. Was it one of us? A feminine voice asked the man next to her. No. We had no one in that area. He replied promptly. So it means there are others besides us fighting against Yagura. Keep an eye out for whoever they are, we might have a chance to recruit more potential allies. Hi, he quickly set off to spread order to keep on the lookout for them. Once again in the bar. Amine was cleaning tables when she heard one of the nins ramble on with another Kiri nin. Yeah, I work at a supply depot, it's the most boring job ever. We had a shipment stolen recently by some punks, so we're increasing the guard on convoys. Amine listened quietly while wiping down tables. Once he started to ramble on about something else, she approached the nin. Hey. Guys. She said in a cute voice and swaying her hips. I heard you talking about being a ninja. I like a man in uniform, she smiled at him. I found out more info on a supply base where that shipment we stole came from. Informing the duo. How'd you find that out? Asked the blonde. Well. One of the Kiri nins was kind enough to tell me with a little motivation. She said as the blonde nodded. The base is 2 days away and has 20 guards. We can expect some joinin to be there. Chuzei put a hand to his chin in thought. In that case. We need to slip in undetected and blow up the depot. You still have seals, Naruto? To which the blonde nodded while smirking. All right. We'll have to scout out the base before we decide anything. The trio quickly got dressed in their combat gear before heading out. Arriving at night, they scouted the walls and noted the patrol routes of the guards. The east side has fewer people, but I feel like that could be a trap. Agreed, we should make a distraction while 1 or 2 of us go over it elsewhere. Amine suggested. I think I should do it while you and Naruto provided the distraction. As your skill lies in defense and Naruto's in offense, unlike me. Handing Chuzei the seals, Naruto and Amine ran off to the east wall. It's so boring, I wish something would happen. Tell me about it. Suddenly, as if their prayer was heard, a loud boom sound was heard, throwing the 2 back. What was that? Looking around the forest, they spotted 2 figures with a fox and bear mask. Enemy attack on the east wall. Sirens began to blare out as the ninja guarding the depot left for the east side. Surrender, you're outnumbered. One of them shouted to the duo, to which they only got a chuckle from the fox masked man. Please. I'm never outnumbered. Kage Bushin no Jutsu. Summoning 50 clones, they rushed the surprised guards with a loud battle cry. On the other side of the fort. Jose, using the opportunity provided by his teammates, made it easily over the wall while avoiding the remaining guards. He placed the seals quickly and quietly without issues and was about to leave before finding the commander's office. Deciding on a detour, he searched through the files in the office. Going through several pointless documents, he found an interesting one. It was a supply request for a mission in a week to eliminate a large number of rebels. Quickly taking the document with him, he placed one more tag under the chair before heading back outside and over the wall. He launched a fireball into the sky to let them know he was done. Clang. Ugh. Anin said before being launched back into two of his comrades. The duo noticed the fireball and nodded to each other. It was time to go. Using his remaining clones, he kept the guards at bay while he and Amine escaped. Making to the rendezvous on a hill, they watched as the base exploded before disappearing back into the shadows once more. With this feat, the trio's reputation would increase, as would their bounty. Chapter end.